Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break? Or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard of. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here to talk about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast.
Have you got a mystery that needs solving?
Where is Amelia Earhart?
We know.
Who the hell was D.B. Cooper?
Easy.
Bermuda Triangle?
Probably solve that one next.
Here at Private Dicks, we guarantee a mystery solved every episode.
That's with a capital G.
Every second Friday, the Private Dicks take a client, record their session, and solve the world's greatest mysteries.
One by one.
Private Dicks solve them, no problem. God, I love just crushing mysteries. Search up Private Dicks on your favorite podcatcher and you can solve a mystery too.
The mystery of what's your favorite podcast?
It's Private Dicks. Another one solved.
If you have a mystery to be solved, call 1-855-PRVT-DIX. That's 1-855-PRIVATE-DICKS.
Call 1-855-PRIVATE-DICKS and leave us the rundown of the case. Maybe the Dicks will solve it.
855 Private Dicks.
Welcome back, everybody. I am so happy that all of you came back to listen to our little podcast. Even new people, thank you. I hope you guys are having a good December. We are almost done with this year. I hope this year brought you some happiness.
Yes.
Even though, you probably had some setbacks or some hard time, but I really hope that you did have a good year.
You did a lot of growth, a lot of learning, a lot of healing, I think, mostly. But overall, I hope you became a better person.
I hope you did something a little different because I know that we did. We started a podcast.
Sometimes you got to risk it to take the biscuit.
We started a podcast and it was hard. You putting yourself out there, and we did. This episode was actually on my True Crime 1 Minute, and I had 2 people inbox me hey, I want to hear more of his story. I looked it up, but they're how you explained it. Can you go into more in detail? So I told them hey, I would do an episode about this.
That's why you're the GOAT.
Thanks. Today's case is about a young man going missing from a public restroom after going on a walk with his mother. As his mother waited outside in the bathroom for his return, he would never come out the bathroom.
Oh.
When she went home and explained to her husband that their son was lost, they immediately went looking for him. When the police received a letter about the disappearance saying that the parents might be involved, the police switched their investigation and started looking into the parents. This is the case of Stephen Clark.
Stephen Charles Clark was born in 1969 in Colchester, Essex, England, to parents Charles and Doris, who had both served as police officers. His younger sister was named Victoria.
When Stephen was 2 years old, he was in a terrible accident. His mother had just left the family home to go shopping, but she did not know that Stephen actually left the home to follow her.
Oh, wow.
She didn't become aware of the fact that he left until she heard a crash, and that's when she saw her son just got hit by a truck.
So he was following her by footstep?
It wasn't, we don't know really about this day at all, because we don't even know who was watching him. Because of this accident, he spent a month in a coma. He was left with a damaged arm and a limp.
Oh, my God.
Despite what happened to Stephen, he grew up to be a funny, intelligent, and a happy person who loved music, bowling, and hanging out in the local pub. He also enjoyed swimming, and his interest was in computers.
Very smart kid.
Stephen and his sister grew up in South Africa, but the Clark family eventually returned to England in 1990.
Stephen attended the Rathborne Society, an organization in Redcar that assists disabled individuals in finding employment. He was a hard worker and he excelled in his studies, even earning an award for Apprentice of the Year. He found that employers often hesitated to give him a chance due to his disability, and his limitations sometimes got him down.
Stephen and his father, Charles, enjoy attending football games together, usually on Saturdays. And I want everybody to know this is a case in England. So football is soccer for people. And
that's right.
Yeah. When I was researching, I'm like, let me make sure I know which football they're talking about. So for everybody to be clear, they're talking about football as soccer, not as football.
Not American football.
Yes. So just want everybody to picture it right. Charles often purchased the tickets for both of them, but for unknown reason, he refused to buy Stephen a ticket for the local football game this time on December 28, 1992, telling him that if he wanted to attend, he had to buy his own ticket.
What? Unless he found somebody else to go with.
Doris and Charles had a running joke in the family that Stephen did not like to use his own money.
Okay.
Because of this, Stephen didn't attend the game because he didn't want to pay for it. Charles left home around 2 p.m. on December 28, 1992, to drive the 10 miles to the stadium where Middlesbrough will be playing against the Crystal Palace. After he was gone, Doris and Stephen decided to take a long walk together on the nearby beach of Salt Burns. According to Doris, as they was heading back, Stephen told her that he needed to use the restroom. They stopped at a public restroom near the seafront pier from the promenade, located roughly 3 miles away from their home. Doris went into the restroom shortly after her son went into the men's. When Doris came out 3 minutes later, she didn't see Stephen anywhere. Assuming he was still in the restroom, she waited outside the door for several minutes before coming to the conclusion that he might have already left, and she started walking home. Thinking that she would catch up with him along the way, she headed back to the Clark residence.
Is that what people did back then? Because I know, I mostly lived in the cell phone era.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find somebody, you just assumed that they were home, or did you?
I mean, I wasn't in the area either. I wasn't in that time period either. I'm younger than you, so. However, she never saw her son at any point of the walk. When she arrived home, she found her house empty. Strangely, there was no sign of Stephen anywhere. When she asked later why didn't she go into the bathroom to see if her son was there, she confirmed he would have been horrified. He was 23, not a child. I would check. I'm just going to be honest.
I would have asked a man, hey, can you see if there's somebody that looks like this?
Or I'll crack the door. Stephen, are you there? Are you there, Stephen?
Right.
When Charles arrived home from the game, Doris told her husband that their son was missing. She explained everything what happened. I got my car to Saltburn. We're all over the place screaming. 28 years, we never heard a word, explained Charles in 2020. After a fruitless search, they knew it was time to get the police involved. They reported Stephen missing at 6 p.m. that evening. Doris let them know that she witnessed 2 men with a little girl enter the restroom right after Stephen did. These people have never been identified or located. In fact, no one has ever came forward. The authorities, much like the Clarks, came up with nothing during the search. Not a link of evidence. That will explain what happened to Stephen Clark that afternoon. In the days and weeks following Stephen's disappearance, several sightings were reported to investigators. A witness who knew Stephen placed him near the Clark residence around 3:45 p.m. on the day that he went missing. A woman claimed to have seen Stephen from her apartment window 2 days after he vanished. She saw him leaving the beach in the company of an older man wearing glasses. However, the police was skeptical of her story. Given the distance between her living room window and the area where she saw the two men was alleged, it was unlikely that she had spotted Stephen clearly enough to identify him. On January 14, 1993, Stan, a friend of the Clark, supposedly saw Stephen in a red car, less than 10 miles away from Salt Burn. He said that he spoke to Stephen that day, but he didn't think nothing of it. He didn't know that the young man was reported missing. Stan changed his stories years later, confessing that he not only didn't talk to Stephen that day, but the man he spotted wasn't Stephen at all, rather somebody that looks like him. Why he initially lied remains a mystery. Stan had passed away.
Wow. It seems like two people have been coached on what to say. And it's crazy because they've been called out. Or it's been known that they were lying. So if you committed something, you're trying to coach these people on what you need them to say. But then why would they go along unless they feel threatened? I don't know. A lot to think about.
None of the report's sightings could be verified. With no leads of variable suspects to work with, the case quickly turned cold.
They're only going by what his mom was saying. That's all the information that they have. If she has something to hide, then they're never going to really figure it out unless she fesses up or somebody witnessed the crime.
In 1999, investigators received an anonymous letter that makes shocking claim to what really happened to Stephen. Detective Chief Inspector Sean Page described the content. The letter is very precise in nature. The letter written intimated that Stephen was dead, and they claim that they know the person responsible. The full context of this letter was never released into the public. In fact, the letter was unknown to the public until 2020. When it was finally released, when they released the letter, it was blacked out. So I will put this letter in on our socials and also on the YouTube. You can see it. It's really blacked out. You see the first part, this is about Stephen Clark case. Blacked out, blacked out, blacked out, blacked out, blacked out. I hope this helped. Why would you release the letter?
Because it's still under investigation, possibly?
Possibly, but
don't release the letter.
Yeah, because if you're going to black it out that much, it's no point of you releasing it. It's crazy. The same year, the case was suddenly reclassified as a murder investigation. The author of the letter implied Charles and Doris are the alleged murderers of their son. Following a cold case review by Cleveland police in September of 2020, the couple was arrested. It was unclear why the police waited so long to arrest the couple. The woman who wrote the letter, she finally came to the police and came forward that she wrote the letter. But she couldn't produce any evidence of why the Clark was actually guilty. Why did you write the letter then? What was the point?
Right.
Doris and Charles was released on bail.
Dang.
And a forensic search that conducted of the Clark home, as well as the yard, garden, and nearby wooded area, but the police, they found nothing. In February of 2021, after 17 weeks investigation, Doris and Charles was officially cleared as a suspect of their son's disappearance.
Under what grounds, I want to know.
Girl, we don't know the letter says, so you think we're going to know that?
I want to know a lot of things.
After a decade of silence, Stephen Clark's sister Victoria spoke to the Missing podcast defending her parents. Our relationship as a family was love-filled. Stephen and I couldn't wish for a happier childhood, Victoria recalled. Stephen going missing has been a living nightmare for all of us, she added. Victoria said that no way her parents would have hurt Stephen and criticized the police for relying on an anonymous letter. The letter was even addressed to the wrong police force. The name was wrong. It went to a different police force, which is not the police we was dealing with. So why was this taken so seriously? I really don't know, but has devastated our family, she said. This was just awful. The way they treated them was diabolical, Victoria said. The Clark was filing a formal complaint against the police. Detective Mark Wilson reviewed the case as one of the most bizarre that he has ever investigated.
I agree.
Detective Chief Inspector Sean Page said there are no active lines of inquiry currently, but they continue to respond to any intelligence and information which may help us locate Stephen. Aside from his parents, no other suspect has been identified in Stephen's case. Before we end this case, let's remember the young man that went missing. Stephen was a fighter as a young kid. He went through something so horrible, but he didn't let that get him down. He loved soccer and he loved to watch the game with his dad. When they talk about Stephen, they say he was so smart and so funny that he can make anyone laugh. This is a case of Stephen Clark. And now, let's get into some theories.
Let's get into some theories.
You or me?
Yeah.
This case, when I used to do True Crime 1 Minute, I do cases that really doesn't have a lot of information, but still try to get the person case out there.
Right.
This case, I don't know if y'all ever heard the term of someone vanishes a thin air.
Yeah.
This is that case. I don't know if because it's no proof. Like, I don't want to say, oh, his parents did it, because I really don't know, because I don't have a lot to go on. And I'm sorry, you guys, there's not a lot to go on. But with this, it's like, did his mom do it? Did his dad do it? Why he couldn't go to the game? I know as a parent, you teaching your child a lesson. Like, hey, you use your own money, because he had a job. He's 23. Why he can't, pay for his own ticket? His dad was like, probably like trying to
make him more independent.
Yeah, make him more independent.
Treat him as an adult. Or welcome him into adulthood.
Because I know my mom used to do, I don't know if people who have kids do this. She'd be like, hey, do you want this toy? Like, if I want a toy, she'd be like, hey, you want the toy? I'm like, yeah, I want this toy. Okay, you got your own money, go pay for it. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, it's so crazy. Like, you could ask a kid to pay for something that they really want. They were like, nope, I'm so good. Do not want this toy at all. But like 10 seconds ago, they wanted this toy. They needed this toy. But if they have to pay for it, like, nope, don't want it.
They think it over twice.
Not even twice. They like, buy toy. And I think his father was kind of doing that. Like, I don't know how much a soccer game was. Never been to any type of sporting events. But it probably couldn't be that high, like say 20. But that's back in 1992. So like back in 1992, that was a lot of money.
Right.
I don't know why he just didn't want to pay for the tickets. When I did the True Crime 1 Minute, a lot of people think it was the parents doing the theories. They did assume it was the parents.
Right.
Because there's no proof that the mom took him to the restroom. And why didn't the mom look into the bathroom? It's a lot of like what ifs on this case. Like, why didn't you go? I would went into the bathroom, just to be honest. I don't care. I would horrify myself. I'm like, boy, come on now. Like, it's time to go.
Yeah, like what's the worst case scenario? Somebody tells you, oh, get out, but you're trying to look for your kid, so then they'll probably help you look for them. As opposed to what happened in this case, allegedly.
Because the weird thing is, I always stay with me with this part. She says that she saw 2 young men going after her son with a little girl. I was like,
Why would 2 men kidnap another grown man with a little girl? It makes no sense.
Right. It was just weird that like 2 grown men went into the bathroom with a little girl. Usually they were like, hey, well, usually would take her to the women bathroom.
Right.
I don't know. I know some guys would take their daughter into the men bathroom. I know that. But 2 of them, I don't know. That part was kind of weird to me a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, I personally don't think that somebody who has a kid would go and kidnap another grown man. Like, it seems irrelevant to me. It seems like you're just trying to point fingers now. We don't have a motive for why the parents did it.
Right.
Parents typically love their kids, so I don't see why they would do it, but because we don't have enough information, and that is what the policemen have their hunch on right now, is the parents were kind of going with that, but I don't know how or why they would want to hurt their kid or make him disappear.
Because it seemed like if somebody tried to hurt him in the bathroom to get him out, she would have heard a noise.
Right.
She would have heard something. Even like he could have had a gun, like, let's go. But you would have heard something,
Yeah.
Like some type of sound of commotion.
Right.
And for her just to leave, I don't know. Like, I could see her just leave. If what she said really happened, I could see her leaving. Like, okay, like, he's 23. He wasn't like a young teenager or a kid. So she's like, okay, he probably just like, my mom taking all day. Because women and men, we do take a little longer than a man.
Right.
They're like, hands up. Not even hands up, like, whoop, doop, done. Sometimes they don't even wash their hands, you know. So she probably like, okay, you know, I probably took too long in the bathroom.
Right.
And he probably like, I ain't waiting for her, because he probably was in a salty mood because he didn't get to go to the football game. So he probably was like, oh, you know, I can kind of see if everything she said happened. I can kind of see why she took off.
Right.
Because we don't know how he was that day. He probably did have a salty attitude. I know I probably would have like a little salty attitude. I'm not going to lie. I don't care. Mom took me to a walk on the beach. Or like, Mom, like, I want to be at this football game. Like, I don't want to be here on this beach with you. Like, really, bro?
Right.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, how would I react? Like, what I do with each case, and you guys have been a while when you know each other, I always, like, put myself, like, in the person's shoes. And I'm like, okay, if I was Steven, and my dad, like, you got to pay your own ticket. First of all, I'm mad that you assume that I want to pay for my own ticket. I'm mad about that. Let's talk about that line. Then you have the nerve to still leave me? I'm mad again that you left me and you still didn't pay for my tickets. Then I'm like, my mom trying to make me happy. I'm like, ugh, all right. Then I gotta go walk. Like, they walk to the beach. I'm like, man, now I gotta go walk to the beach? Gosh, now I gotta walk. And then he had a slight limp. So, like, I don't want to say the person's name because they're gonna beat me up because they listen to our podcast. But they have a slight limp too. So they can't walk a long time. Like, if they walk a long time, it really hurt their leg. I didn't call your name out. Don't beat me up. But then I have to walk to the beach. Got a limp. I'm tired. And I got to the bathroom. I kind of see him. He probably did get mad and like walked off like, man, forget this. I kind of can see that. Do I see somebody going to the bathroom and hurting him? I can too, because he did have a disability.
Right.
And sometimes people think that's an easy target.
Right.
But she would have found his body if something went down that bathroom. They wouldn't just took him. He's 23. They wouldn't just, took him. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so many impossibilities. You have him just walking away. You have his parents hurting him, or you have him being hurt and kidnapped in that bathroom.
Right.
Do I think about the last one? I don't see the last one. I don't see him being kidnapped and hurt. I do possibly see him walking away. Like, just like, forget it. He's mad.
Right.
Or as he walked away, he kind of got hurt in the process. I can see that mostly. But those are the only two ones I can see, the parents or the hurt. But I don't see the parents really. A lot of people do, but I don't, but they were police officers. So I'm like, oh, like, if the police looked into him for 17 weeks, like, was grilling him, had him in jail and everything, I feel like they should have found something, but they were police officers, like, back in the day. So it was easy for them to know how to hide evidence.
I don't really know how the law works over there, but over here they put you in jail because they have a probable cause. Over there, I don't know if that's how it works, but if it does, they were in jail. So it's almost like the police had something, but then it fell through.
I think because of the letter. And that's the crazy thing. The woman came back and said, yeah, I wrote the letter. But I don't have no evidence why they're guilty. That's one thing I don't like. Because if y'all put them in jail because of that letter and the lady came out and said like, hey, I wrote it, but I don't have evidence of why they're guilty, they should not believe her at all. Right. It was too many people in this case lying.
Right.
You have the friend. Then you have the woman say, oh, I saw him at the beach. And then you have this lady with the letter. It's too many people.
Yeah, that's another thing that kind of caught me was two people were coached and then, or they said something that wasn't true. It's like, why?
And if he was the friend of the family, why did you even go and say this lie? Like, say we have close friends. Let's like do one of our couple friends. If they came out and lied like that, I would look at them different.
Right.
When I look into the case and I read red car, knowing a man would know a car. He would told you the model, everything about that car. Like, I can't tell you nothing about cars. Brother could tell you your car make. Like, I'm not good with cars at all.
Right.
I don't know. I just felt that kind of iffy about that situation. Like, I can see why the woman lied, because a lot of people do lie, come out and lie and say, oh, I saw them. Oh, we have did many cases. We have seen people come out lying and you found that it wasn't true.
Right.
But the weirdest part is the friend. Like, why would the friend come out and just like lie?
Right.
Like they couldn't, what if the parents didn't hurt them? Because we don't know who hurt him. Allegedly, what if the parents didn't hurt him? You gave them hope that you saw their kid.
Right.
And that's kind of messed up as a friend. You're the friend of the family.
Right.
I don't know. That made me mad right there. That made me mad a little bit.
Or some people want their 5 seconds of fame.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's just too many lies in this case. Like looking back and like thinking, it's so many lies. We don't know. We don't know the parent situation. We don't know if they really did like hurt him. We don't know. It's allegedly. We don't know the case. I don't know. I don't see them.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like personally, what do you think? Tell people your thoughts.
Because I don't have any motive or anything else to go by. Like I feel like the parents are either the ones that know the most or the ones responsible for it. And the only red flags that I have is 2 people came out and said something and then they kind of retracted their statements.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say something that wasn't true?
Well, only one, because the woman, she didn't come back. They just said, like, lady, you just lied. They just said she just lied. They didn't believe her at all. But she could have been telling the truth. We don't even know. I don't know. It's a lot of mystery with this case.
Yeah. And then I don't know if the parents were also just careless. Like the incident when he was 2 years old. I am the type of person that always double, triple checks something. I always question myself. And I will not leave the house unless I know that the door is closed, that my daughter's not out there, that I've set the alarm, all of that good stuff. Like, I don't just like go out the door and just leave it for my daughter to come out. Like, even though I'm not the most aware of my surroundings, I try to be now because I have a daughter. I know she likes to chase me outside. So I make sure that she doesn't come out because I don't want her to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just seems like the mom was just really like kind of careless in a way when he was young. And then, the whole bathroom thing, allegedly. The worst case, if she would have gone into the restroom or asked somebody to go in there and see, it was just going to be like, oh no, man. Like, it wasn't going to be a big deal. Or she could have called like a police officer. Sometimes they have security. Hey, like I'm looking for my son. It's been so long. Like, can you see if he's in there? I wouldn't just assume and walk home because the risk is pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, too, because of what happened to him when he was younger, people tend to learn from their mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she was like, oh, okay, well, like,
mm-hmm.
hopefully he's home. And then when she came home, he wasn't there. She called the police, but like, I would be out there searching. I would go back to the bathroom stall. I would talk to whoever I could that was around, and I don't know. It's just the lack of information. So it could not be them, but like right now, all eyes are on them because that's the person that knows the most.
Right.
Has the most information.
Because a lot of people, assuming the theories when I did this case on there, they was like, why did the father just say, hey, like, I'm not paying for your ticket? Like, why? I feel like it was a learning thing,
Yeah.
I feel like, because I can see myself kind of doing that too. I don't know. This case is very, very hard. Well, this is our case. Tell us your theories and go check out it on True Crime 1 Minute on TikTok before, we get banned over here.
Right.
We are on all social medias. We are on all major podcast platforms. We are on YouTube. You can do case suggestions. Give us a 5-star rating. Tell us your theories. Come on. Join our Facebook group. We're on Blue Sky. We are on every social media. So come on. Tell us what you think. Even in the comments. Tell us. This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
Don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
So proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you the Lesbian Detectives.